please welcome Tim Wilson.
I hate public speaking. You know what? I'll bet some of you hate public speaking too. Because one thing I've discovered year after year after year in Toastmasters is very few people come into Toastmasters saying something like, "Wow, I get to go up in front of people and speak. I am so psyched. Point me to the floor. I'm ready to go." No, that's not what happens. Usually happens, you ask people why they're there, they have something like, "I got a presentation coming up. I have no clue what I'm going to say, and I'm just really dreading the whole thing." And that's normal. That's perfectly normal. In fact, a lot of people, really good performers, hate to go on stage. Myself, I have to force myself to get up there. It's a nerve-wracking procedure. It's something I go over and I practice and I work on things, just so make sure when I get up in front of there, I don't do something really stupid. It's scary. There's a reason why they call it stage fright and not stage fun. It's because it's scary to go out on stage. If you think of some people like, for instance, Barbra Streisand. For those younger, she was a singer. She was a very singer and actor. Barbra Streisand. In order to get her on stage, she had terrible stage fright before going on stage. It was scary to go out there. Yo-Yo Ma, world famous cellist, same sort of thing. Terrified to go on stage. Once you get on stage, it's okay. But getting there is a big, big challenge. Stage fright is perfectly normal. Happens all the time. And it's one of the things that we're here to work on. One of the things we're here to try to get better at. Because it's one of the fears we all share. Now, I don't know so much about that old fear. Have you ever heard the thing that says that people fear getting on stage more than they fear death? Anybody heard that? Anybody believe that? No, I personally, this is not as scary as, the hereafter and whatever happens there. That's a whole other story. But think about nightmares. Any nightmare you've had. Most likely you probably had a nightmare sometime which involved you getting out in front of people, not knowing what to say, and standing there. And folks, that is public speaking. So we have nightmares about that. It's a scary thing to do. And that's perfectly normal. But the one thing we're all here to do is to face that fear. In fact, let's say that together. I am here.
I am here
to face the fear.
To face the fear.
Exactly. That's it. That's the whole reason we come here. Now, there may be some people who love public speaking. If so, just ignore the rest of the speech. But for the rest of you, that's what it's about. Facing the fear of going out on stage. Now, the thing about facing fear, any fear you have, is there's one question you have to ask yourself. Just one question. So if you have anything in your life you're afraid of, anything in your life you're worried about, anything in your life you're a little bit tentative about, ask yourself this one question. It'll make everything perfectly clear. And that one question is, what is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? And if it's not so bad, you can probably go ahead and do it. It's probably okay. So let's take public speaking. What's the worst that can happen with public speaking? Well, you forget what you're going to say. You don't go as long as you wanted to go. You forget a few things along the way. You repeat yourself a couple times. You trip. You stutter. You stumble. And you fall when you go on stage. Folks, that's about the worst thing that can happen. So it's not that bad. It's not that big a deal. Not that scary. Now, it doesn't mean I think you should do everything that you're afraid of. There are some things that you're afraid of, in my opinion, probably a good idea to continue not doing if you're already not doing them. For instance, let's take skydiving. Think of skydiving. Now, what's the worst thing that can happen if you go skydiving? Well, the worst thing that can happen if you go skydiving, let's say you're 10,000 feet and you jump out of a plane. Absolute worst thing that can happen is you jump out of a plane and you go. That's the worst that can happen. And you know what? That's pretty bad. I don't recommend skydiving at all. If you're doing it, fine, go ahead, but just remember, not safe. Public speaking is different. Public speaking is different because you face your fears, you get up in front of everybody, and you start to speak. And here's the reason you do it. Here's the benefit. Here's what you get out of it. Sure, you get to speak, and you get to talk in front of people. That's a small benefit. When you face your fear, you face little fears, you get the strength and the courage to face the bigger life fears. Face the small fears, it helps you face the larger fears. So if you can face the small fear of getting up in front of people, you can face bigger fears. I'll take public speaking in my case. Faced this fear of public speaking, I work at it. Work at it and work at it. And I get up here and finally, okay, stand here, I can talk, get things across, make the point. I can face that fear. And that gave me strength for when I lost my job. I was out of work for 2 years, and it was terrifying. It was scary. I had enough money for a while, but at some point money runs out. But a strange thing happened. I had faced one fear. Something I feared, well, not worse than death, but something I feared. That gave me the strength to face this fear, being out of work. Later on, had problems with debt. Surprising, out of work, problems with debt, problems with credit cards. Those have now been eliminated. No one will have any more problem with credit cards anymore, thanks to our open government. But at that time, I had trouble with credit cards. That was scary too. What do you do if you can't pay your credit cards, you can't pay your down payments? I faced that fear. And it all went back to that very simple thing of public speaking. All went back to facing that one basic fear. So sure, you're going to get up here and you want to do better presentations, and that's fine, that's wonderful. And if some of you come in and you aren't quite sure, you aren't giving presentations yet, or you may give presentations down the line, you don't really know why you're here, that's it. That is why you're here. Simply to face that universal fear we have of getting up in front of people. Because when we get up in front of people and we talk, it gives us confidence. Confidence in ourselves that we have something to say, and confidence that other people will listen to us. It helps us face that terrifying fear we have that we don't matter, that we're irrelevant. And don't say, we're not irrelevant, we're actually hippopotamus, because I've heard that joke. So we face that fear, and in doing that, we get stronger. And that's what public speaking is all about. It's all about facing that fear. So just to remind yourself one more time why we're here. Play together. I am here.
I am here
to face the fear.
to face the fear.
Mr.